This news blast is brought to you by Haven, helping all victims in need of Armstrong County, Pennsylvania. Between March and May, they will be holding discussion groups focused on domestic violence in rural parts of the county. Details about these groups are available on the Pennsylvania Equality Project website, paequality.com. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is our news blast for March 7th. Germany has issued a travel warning about the U.S. due to restrictions on trans people. As Donald Trump continues to terrorize the trans community, the German government has issued a warning for its trans and non-binary citizens about traveling to the United States. A message from the German Foreign Office explained Trump's recent mandate that passport gender markers reflect a person's sex assigned at birth, which will also be required for those entering the country. Travelers who have the gender entry X or whose current gender entry differs from their gender entry at birth should contact the relevant U.S. diplomatic mission in Germany before entering the country and find out the applicable entry requirements, the Foreign Office communicated through a warning in the Rheinische Post. At the end of February, the State Department told U.S. immigration officials around the world to deny visas to transgender athletes attempting to enter the U.S. and to permanently ban any athletes who misrepresent their birth sex on visa applications. While it only applies to athletes, many fear it will be used to ban trans people overall from entering the United States. An order from Secretary of State Marco Rubio instructs U.S. consulates and visa offices around the world to examine all birth certificates that conflict with other official identity documentation and to mark all suspected cases with SWS 25 so that the State Department may easily track cases and enforcement worldwide. A German official explained to Advocate that Germany's new Self-Determination Act has made it significantly easier for trans people in the country to update the gender markers on their legal documents. The self-determination law makes changing your first name and gender marker easier than it has been in the past. Transgender and non-binary persons can now change their first name and their gender marker through a notarized declaration. Through this process, they can obtain new birth certificates and ID documents reflecting their gender identity. As such, more transgender Germans are likely to have gender markers on their legal documents that do not match their birth certificates. Transgender and non-binary individuals traveling from Germany to the United States should contact the responsible U.S. authorities prior to travel to the U.S. to inquire about current entry regulations, the official confirmed. The U.S. State Department stopped issuing accurate passports after Trump signed an executive order declaring that the federal government would only recognize two genders and that government-issued identification documents should reflect a person's sex at conception. Following the executive order, Rubio ordered that all passport applications requesting an X gender marker be suspended, as well as any applications listing a person's gender identity rather than the sex they were assigned, the ACLU's lawsuit states. Previously, non-binary applicants were able to self-select an X gender marker, as were individuals who had not had their birth certificate reissued to show their correct gender after the previous administration of President Joe Biden began allowing it in April 2022. The ACLU is currently suing the State Department on behalf of 7 plaintiffs to fight the new passport policy, arguing that Trump's policy violates the First Amendment's protection by imposing the president's ideological beliefs onto citizens, the Equal Protection Clause by discriminating against the plaintiffs on the basis of sex, the Due Process Clause by unlawfully restricting their freedom of movement, and the Administrative Procedures Act for failing to provide advance notice about important changes to government forms. While they're at it, why not just simply push Congress as hard as they possibly can into impeaching President Trump and sending the case over to the Senate where he can be tried, kicked out by dinner time, and Melania can sign those divorce papers any minute she wants to. That's our news blast at this hour. And if you are watching our news videos on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button. Download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Up next is the latest weather forecast for the Meadville area right here on PEP Radio.